Here we are at Sunday morning. The game is over, and it wasn't what we hoped. And it also wasn't what some people expected. I'm going to take a look at what I think is the bad and the good. And despite the final score, there's a significant amount of good. Overall, the bad, it was a loss. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. The good, overall, there was absolutely no quit in the team. Either side of the ball. They were fighting. I expected nothing less than that, but it's still something good to see. And not very many penalties. That's a good thing from the West Virginia perspective, especially in that environment. There was expectation of a lot more procedure penalties. The problem more was a couple of holds and one kind of fluke finger in the ear hole penalty. Kind of hurt a bit. The procedure penalty, bad timing, but it wasn't an overwhelming problem. Now, the fact that Penn State only had one penalty, you do wonder. There were definitely some bad calls, but that went both ways. Now, taking a look at the offense, the bad, one of my questions was whether or not Green was going to hit enough of the short and intermediate passes. The answer, no, he didn't. Several of them were high, hurried throws, which was his previous tendency. More than likely it was the environment. I still think he's going to be fine with that. One of them, when it appeared to be behind Traylon Ray, and Ray was able to reach back and get his hand on it. I haven't looked at the film yet, but I think Green was actually throwing to a next level receiver who looked to be right in line to catch that pass. So, not going to put that one on Green. It was just something a little off on the timing, I believe. I also asked if the receivers would get enough yards after the catch. Again, no, they didn't. Not a lot to judge by because they didn't pass a lot until late in the game. I think that was a mistake. I did believe they would pass a little bit more. And I agree with the announcer that they needed to do some passing more on first down. But if you are trying to shorten the game and running was largely working, you go with it. But you can't stay away from the pass. Running game was generally good. I still want to see more going to the outside. We didn't see Jaheim White, and I think that was largely because we didn't get enough offensive plays. We did not get enough consistent drives, so some of the guys didn't get a chance to play. The first run to the outside did rather well, and they bumped a few plays to the outside, but you can't go up the middle every time. Now, I know some were complaining before the game about Brown's vanilla play calling. It was not vanilla, and we definitely saw some trick plays. I think those same people are going to complain about the trick plays because they didn't work. I like them. Whether it was the right time, I don't know. If they had worked, you could say it was the right time. They didn't work. a lot of it Penn State just didn't fall for it. So, but the offense did some interesting things. Some they did well, some not so well. On the good side, the running game was largely effective, and that was against a very good Penn State defense. Green moved well, and he did eventually settle in better. Now, of course, he did very well late in the game on the downfield, especially down the middle passing. And if you're wondering why they didn't do that earlier, well, I would expect Penn State was playing a different defense. Late in the game, Penn State was probably not playing as tight. Some things opened up. West Virginia was able to take advantage of it. Not enough advantage. And of course, on that onside kick, Devin Carter was right there. If the Penn State player tries to grab the ball rather than trying to hit it out, Carter has a good chance at getting it. Does it win the game? Nah, probably not. Keeps Penn State from scoring again. But a lot of things were well done. Didn't fall quite the right way. They did use Cole Taylor in the passing game, so those who are complaining that they don't use the tight end even when they can, they did. On the defensive side, the bad was pretty obvious. There were too many wide open receivers. That came as a surprise to me. I'm not really sure why it happened. Now, as Brown noted, a lot of them were on crossing routes, and somebody either didn't pick them up or didn't stay with them. There were several times when you had two backs who took the same receiver and left the other one open. That's that's a technical thing that has to get cleared up. The first touchdown, I didn't see the wide shot. I don't know if Burks fell, slipped, or what. He was one step away. So it was a very big play. It was not a very bad play. Although, Burks graded out extremely low. I'm not sure how much of it had to do, well, it shouldn't be too much due to that one. Maybe he was the one they felt was responsible for some of the mix-ups in coverage. On the good side, the line was generally solid. Penn State did not dominate the line. Yes, they did get some solid runs, some big runs, but they were not just cutting through it at will. And the score is deceptive because a lot of that scoring came late and came because Coach Brown went for it, fourth down in their own territory, didn't get it. That sets up a short field. So don't complain that Brown plays not to lose or doesn't have the nerve. He went for it. And then, of course, on the onside kick, that sets up a short field, and then you get a 15-yard penalty, and Penn State just, keeps driving. Now, the defense got pressure. That was also one of my questions. They brought pressure. They got pressure. Early, Alar was able to hit some passes off of that when he got out of the pocket. Later, they had more success actually forcing him, either getting the sack, forcing hurried throws, or forcing him to throw the ball away, even if it was intentional grounding. Maybe. Haven't looked at the film. Question for Will. Lathan played, almost all the snaps. graded out fair. Had, got some notice by the announcers late when he was bringing pressure. So Will was not a weakness. Needed to be stronger, and I think it will be stronger. Special teams, the bad was one bad punt. The good was a couple of good punts. Or I should say, bad was also one bad punt. And Wilson Lamp was not in control on that one call, or the non-call. I, again, haven't looked at the film. Was there a lot going on earlier that caused him to be in that position? It didn't really look like the Penn State player blocked him into the returner. On the good side, had good punts. The one kickoff that Penn State tried to return, very good coverage, stopped short of the 20. That was a problem in the past. It was not on that one play. Not a lot else to go on special teams, no field goal attempts. Made the only extra point, and then went for it and got two on the second touchdown. Now, of course, a lot of people were assuming that the offense would be good. It was actually more of the problem than the defense. The reason two reasons Penn State scored the number of points they did. One was because the offense did not stay on the field, and because Penn State had a short field 3 times, I think. So the defense did a good job. Even though they gave up a lot of open passes, a lot of passing yardage overall, they found ways to stop Penn State short of the end zone until late in the game and on some of the short fields. Actually, on one of them, they still stopped them for a field goal attempt, which Penn State was kind enough to miss. I still like this team. I still say 7 wins is the floor, 9 wins the ceiling. This loss was expected. The score looks bad. The game did not. One problem on defense and some adjustments on offense. And I do believe that Garrett Green will get his passing rhythm. And the running game was good, and I don't think other teams will be as good at stopping it. So I expect to be able to run even more, and I do hope there will be more passing. I do not think we should be as run heavy as we were in the game. I expected this game to be more run heavy than others. We'll see. I don't think Coach Brown is watching my videos, and I don't think he would necessarily listen to me anyway, but I do think they will be making adjustments as they go. I think it's going to be a fun season. I think it's going to be an exciting season. And down the road, I think the good will include saying we won the game. I look forward to saying that a lot. So those are my thoughts on Sunday morning. I'll see you maybe during the week after watching more of the interviews. And of course, I will see you after the Duquesne game. And then there's Pitt. And I say we will beat Pitt. We will beat Pitt. Okay, so long.